Good morning and welcome to KX on the Go. I'm Tyler Flipson. After hearing from more families and voters around the state lawmakers took a step towards passing free school meals for public school students in North Dakota. Thursday morning, House legislators passed House Bill 1624, which seeks to offer breakfast and lunch at no cost to the student or his or her parents. If signed into law, the superintendent of public instruction would be funded with around $65 million to cover the cost of the meals. State lawmakers estimate there are between 38,000 and 40,000 kids in North Dakota who would take advantage of the program, but around 26,000 of those automatically qualify. But some lawmakers say the issue should be voted on.
When they put a statutory measure on for medical marijuana and it was messed up and you couldn't even possess it and it needed all sorts of fixes, I think we've probably passed a dozen bills to tweak it over the years. Guess what? All of us, including myself, that were against medical marijuana voted yes and fixed that measure because we supported the vote of the people.
I believe partisan politics should not take any effect when we're dealing with our kids. And I see this as a win for families. I see it a win for North Dakota property taxes. School lunches would be a big win for all our constituents.
Thursday, lawmakers narrowly rejected a similar bill, House Bill 1627, which would have provided $7 million from the general fund to the Department of Public Instruction that could be used for grants to reimburse schools for the cost of free meals. KX News also asked the sponsoring group behind the proposed ballot measure if they'll continue with plans to gather signatures if the governor signs House Bill 1624. Amy Jacobson with Together for School Meals says, quote, "This conversation is happening because citizens have refused to let the issue fade away. The coalition has not taken a position on the legislation and will continue to monitor the process closely," end quote. State lawmakers this week also said yes to the setting up of the state rural health transformation program. North Dakota is receiving just under $200 million this year to fund programs in rural hospitals and efforts to improve people's quality of life. Spokespeople with North Dakota's Health and Human Service say almost 60% of the money would be used to bring care closer to home, as well as trying to lower people's risk for heart disease and diabetes. Lawmakers in support of the idea say it could also give training for people living in small towns to qualify for higher paying positions in healthcare.
Support this bill because what it's doing for the critical care hospitals. Ambulances are important, but remember, we're looking for long-term effect. A long-term effect is getting the people trained in the rural areas that are staying in the rural areas.
I don't like the trend personally of telehealth because it's going to actually compete with that. People are going to take that option because it's so easy.
Health and Human Services supervisors say the programs in North Dakota looking for funding this year must submit their plans by the deadline of October 30th. State senators will also vote on the bill later today. We're finding out more about a man who's now facing decades in prison after he was charged with sex crimes against a minor. According to an affidavit obtained by KX News, police arrested Corey James Morgan after they say he sexually abused a 14-year-old girl he met through social media. Court documents show the girl told police she met Morgan, who goes by Corey, back in June of 2024. According to the affidavit, the sexual abuse began in February of 2025 and happened at least 10 times. The girl's parents found out after noticing she had been sneaking out at night and discovered concerning messages on her phone, as well as alcohol in her room. His bond was set at $1 million, and according to Minot PD, the investigation remains ongoing. Parents should watch for warning signs such as unexplained gifts, secretive phone use, staying up late to text, or even sudden changes in mood or behavior. If you find something concerning on your child's phone, don't delete it. Save the messages and contact police. Local resources include the Minot PD, the State Attorney General's Office, and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at the number on your screen. All right, good morning, Andre.
And good morning to you too, Tyler. And we are starting off our day with very cold conditions at this time here in Bowman. We're seeing a temperature of 27 degrees below zero, and with that wind out of the north-northwest at 5 miles per hour, it's making that wind chill be at 42 degrees below zero. So this is some extreme cold, folks. And as we head over into the capital city, we're seeing a temperature of 21 degrees below zero, and with that wind out of the west-northwest at 8 miles per hour, it is making our wind chill be at 40 30 degrees below zero. So again, very serious. Now looking ahead, folks, we're going to continue to see that tundra tour kind of move its way through the viewing area, kind of like a parade, if you will, and that will include some brutal wind chills around here as well. But guess what? There is a warm-up coming up here soon, folks, so we're going to be watching that very closely. Now, looking at our current temperatures, our temperatures right now are mainly in the 20s and even the 30s below zero there in Dickinson at 30 degrees below zero, there in Hettinger at 30 degrees below zero, but look at there in Beach, 35 degrees below zero, folks. So this is some extreme cold around here. And as far as the winds, they are out of the north and west about 5 to 15 miles per hour. That is allowing for those wind chills brought to you by Absolute Comfort Plumbing and Heating. We're seeing those values mainly in the 40s and 50s below zero, exception there in Watford City at 20s below zero, 29 degrees below zero, and there in Beach at 35 degrees below zero. But there in Wolf Point, kind of the warmest at this time at 22 degrees below zero, and that's saying something. Now, reason why we're seeing this is because we have this area of high pressure, an Arctic area of high pressure, if you will, bringing us that northerly flow across our viewing area and thus giving us that very cold temperatures here across our neck of the woods, and that's going to continue here over the next few days. In fact, we do have this extreme cold warning in effect through our lunchtime hour on Sunday, so this is going to be some serious stuff, folks. So make sure you wear multiple layers. Make sure you're covering these. Make sure you're covering this, because this is going to really bring you some really extreme sort of conditions if you don't, because frostbite and also hypothermia is quite real. Now, looking at our highs for today, we're going to be seeing temperatures climb up into the teens and even a few single digits below zero in our extreme southern counties, but still relatively cold sort of day, if you will. And our wind chills are just going to continue to be on the cold side throughout the day today. But however, it will warm up some, and it's just some, so just that's something to keep in mind. But it's still going to be a rather dangerous day to go outside for long periods of time because of some wind chills still remaining at least in the teens and 20s below zero throughout the day today. And our wind gusts throughout the day today is looking really good. At least we don't have to deal with a lot of high winds with this, so that's making things feel a little bit better. Now, once we get into tonight, temperatures will drop down into the teens and 20s below zero, so it is going to be another dangerously cold night in store for us here. But here's the thing. Once we get into Williston, we will see those temperatures start to moderate some throughout the weekend, and especially as we get into early next week, where we're expecting some teens around here for our Monday and our Tuesday. And here in Dickinson, we're also going to be seeing a warm-up around here, especially as we head into our Monday with temperatures in the mid to upper teens. Now, looking here in the Magic City, we're going to be seeing teens below zero today, single digits below zero for our Saturday, and that's going to continue into our Sunday, and then teens in single digits fluctuations between our Monday and our Thursday. And here in the capital city, we're going to be remaining in the teens all week long next week for the most part. So Tyler, we just got to get through the next few days, bud, and then things start to warm up early next week.
Okay, I'll be looking forward to it. Thanks, Andre. And thank you for watching KX on the Go. I'm Tyler Flipson. Let's have ourselves a day, folks.